All right. Good morning, everybody. Shkach for covering. So he told me you almost got halfway down the first and then Amud Aleph, Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. Is that correct?
Yes.
So right. So you have the case over there where I guess the animals that knew they're aware how to go ahead and use something for their benefit. In other words, using for something, whether to cool off or whatever it was. If you want to brought an example. So left off by the case, let me find the word. Amar Rabbanan. Yeah, maybe around 8 or 9 lines from the top on Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. I just want to make sure we get to Lamed Vav Amud Aleph on top, so that people don't need to bring 2 volumes tomorrow. They can just bring 1 volume. Although one might not have English, right? Anyways, it says, so Amar Rabbanan Kamed Papa. We matis Amar Teshara Dumya Didei. So we're talking about 2 equivalent situations when I was, if the animal's like the person, he did it for his benefit. So too over here, but if that's the case, we're comparing the animal did it similar to the person. Vaktani Shoro Shabayish Pater. Right? So if an animal, right, embarrasses somebody, right? If someone's embarrassed by an animal, the owner of the animal is putter from payment. But if a person embarrasses another person, it's chayav to pay. So Shomar Dumadi Day. So how could you have a case of shore similar to him? Is kavin the bayish heichim mishkachasla? Right? How could you have a case when an animal intends? The animals don't intend to go ahead and embarrass people, right? That's not what animals do. So our answer is no. Kagoshi is kavin the hazik. No, it's if it has intentions to damage, then you would even pay for embarrassment. Don't remember. It's kavin the hazik. Alpha bishulin is kavin the bayish. So if one goes ahead and does indeed cause intends to damage, and ultimately the person is embarrassed by it, so the owner would be chayv. Fine. And Rav Amar, so now going back to what we said earlier, so we had a case of Mekalkil, right? We had a Rabbi Yechanan said, Kol Mekalkilim Paturin, any of the malachas that are done in a destructive manner, one is patur from, except 2 exceptions, one of which was mavir, causing a fire, right? Causing a fire is a case of our, so that was a case in the Mishnah where one person goes ahead and lights a fire and kills somebody. So he's different, right, than he lights on Shabbos, right? Then he's patur from damages because it's chai b'Shabbos. So you see over there that, so it's different. So Rav Amar Masnisin b'Shogeg. Our Mishnah is talking about a case of where the fire was done b'Shogeg. So originally we thought, till now, it's kimlev with the Rabbimine. If a person's chayiv b'nafsho, he's not chayiv for mammon, and that's why the person is patur, right? But if it's done b'shogeg,
what's the case that
that's a fire on Shabbos.
Did he do it on purpose?
No, so now we're saying it was done b'shogeg, right? So normally you set a fire on Shabbos and you destroy, so you're patur for payment because I'm a chayiv b'nafsho, right? So, but according to you not be chayiv b'nafsho, according to Rabbi Yochanan, so he says no. In this case, he says that we're talking about a case of shogeg, and even though it's done by shogeg, you'd still be patur. The time of the when it comes to right case of makabim, there's no difference whether it's done by shogeg or mezid miskavim shem miskavim. Baby derech yirida derech aliyah. The patcher mammon el chayv. In the case, the animal's always chayv. So af makadum so to a person lo tachlok bo. Baby shogeg lemezi baby miskavim shem miskavim. Baby derech yirida derech the derech aliyah. The chayv mammon el the patcher mammon. So in other words, any case would pater him. In other words, any case of setting the fire, even if it was done the shogeg, he would be pater from payment. So Amar Lei Rabban on the Rava Mimatzis Mukbis Love Shogeg. Hi, how can you say our Mishnah on a case of a shogeg? It says because he's chayiv b'nafsho. So how could you define that he's pater from payment because he did b'mezid because b'chayiv b'nafsho? Whereas there's no hakakama kevan the b'mezid nida b'nafsho. Since if he would have done it b'mezid, he would have chayiv b'nafsho. Ve'echidami how's that? The kabbalah lafro. Hashtem b'shogeg pater. Right? When we were doing it for the dirt, and or for the ashes, we would be constructive, and therefore would be chayiv b'nafsho. So since if he would do it And that way, he would be chayiv b'nafsho mimela pater from mammon. So too in the case of shogig, hashta b'shogig, so too by shogig, we're not the mechalik and say he's also pater from pay. Fine. Nai Mishnah. Mishnah at the bottom of Lamed Hey. Mishnah says, Shor shayaradi facher shor acher v'hiza. So, an animal, Reuven's animal was chasing after Shimon's. V'huzak, and it comes down. Right? One guy says, "Hey, Shimon says your animal caused damage to mine." Zelmer, and Shimon says, "Lo, ki ella besela laka." Right? He says, "No, my animal didn't injure your animal. Your animal just hurt itself on its own, unrelated to it being chased." Hamaitzi mechaver olavarayis. So this is going to be the answer for all these cases. The burden of proof is on the person making the claim, right? So he claims your animal killed my animal. Bring proof, because the other guy is arguing. He says, no, that didn't happen. It injured itself on its rock. It's nothing to do with my animal. Next case. Right? So you have two animals chasing one. Right? So you have Levi's animal. It's being chased by Reuven and Shimon's. Reuven says it was Shimon's animal who gored it, right? And Shimon says, no, it was Reuven's animal who gored it. Shnei Pturim. Both of them are pater because each one of them is denying it, and therefore, basically, we'll go back to the same answer. We'll see or im hayu shnayim shel ish echad. So let's say both animals belong to the same person. Now, Reuven owned two animals, and it was chasing Shimon's animal. So, if that's such a case, so the owner of the two of them would be chayiv. If one of them, let's say, was a big animal, it was a little animal. So let's say we're talking about a case of it was a tam. So the nizak would want to go ahead and say, "Hey, it was the larger animal killed mine. Why? Because I can go ahead and cover the cost from your large animal." And so he says, "The nizak I'm gadol hazik. The other one says, "No, it's not my good animal. My smaller animal. That was the one that damaged your animal. Therefore, you can only take chatzin nezek from there." Or echad tam v'echad muad, or one of them was a tam, one of them was a muad. So nizak muad hazik. So the person who got damaged says, "Hey, your animal, the muad, which is chayiv to pay mezek shalem, damaged my animal, so you got to pay me for the full value." He says, "No, tam hizik. It was only my tam that injured you, and therefore I had to pay chatzin nezek." All these cases, he has to bring proof. The burden of proof is on him. Now, let's say now the guy who's damaged, that he owned two animals, and so Reuven owned two animals and Shimon owned two animals, and Reuven's two animals injured Shimon's two animals. So I use anizakin shnayim echad gadol echad katan, but one was big, one was little, and they both damaged for the first time. They're both tops. Hamazikin shnayim and hamazikin shnayim, and the guy who owns the two damaged animals are two. Echad gadol echad katan. One is big, one is small. Hanizak oimer gadol heizik as a gadol v'katan as a katan. So he says, no, the larger animal, right, gored my large animal. Therefore, the chatzi nezek of my bigger loss is going to be from your large animal. Therefore, I can collect more. And the smaller one is a smaller one. He says, right? My small one into your big one. So even though your big one's worth a lot, you can only get chatzi nezek from my small animal. The gadol and the large one as a katan. I pay chatzi nezek from the gadol. Or echad tam echad muad. One is a tam and one is a muad. Hanizak oimer muad heizik as a gadol. So the person who was damaged says, your muad damaged my larger animal, therefore you have to pay full payment for that. The tam is a katan, and then the smaller one was the tam, which only get chatzi nezek. The hamazik oimer, and the mazik says, lo kiela tam as a gadol. The mazik says, no. It was my tam that killed your gadol. Therefore, I don't have to pay full payment for your gadol. Rather, I only have to pay chatzi nezek for your gadol. But muad is a katan, and my muad, I'll pay the full damage for your small one. Once again, the nizak cannot force payment, and therefore it would follow that which the mazik said. Zok the Gemara.
It means that a muad is 100%.
Right, muad pays 100. So Amrab Chia Barabba, Zaysameres, Chalukim Olav Chaverav Al Sumbus. Damra Mamon Hamota Basavik Chok. All these cases that we brought
Mhm.
are arguing on our friend Sukkos, right? Who says that that something which is unsure, right? We leave it, it's divided 50-50 since we don't know. Right. Over here, right, our cases in the Mishnah seem to say that no, these cases, the Nizak one, so therefore the burden of proof is on him. Right. But according to Sumchos, it would be chol. We would divide it. So Amalei Rabbi Abba Bar Mem, or Rabbi Chia Bar Abba, Amar Sumchos Afilu Bari Bari. Would he say in the case of each one has a certain claim? In other words, one guy says you owe me X, the other one says no, it's only Y. Each one has a certain claim. Would he also say cholkin in that case? So Amalei In, yes. So Amar Sumchos Afilu Bari Bari. He said yes, indeed. He does say in the case of Bari Bari, then they split it. Why do you say that? I mean, they must need it, Bari Bari. Right, our Mishnah is the case of each one with the bari claim. Right, who the tani? Right, so Zelmer Shorcha Hazik. One guy says your animal gored. Zelmer lo key. Right, and that one says no, it did not. The other one did. Yours did. Right, so each one has a definitive claim. There's no I don't know. It says no, mine didn't. Yours did. Right, so that's a definitive claim. It's not Shema yours. It says lo. So Maskara Papa Midaration.
Well, the very first case was a case where the
one guy says, I saw
guy,
your animal gore my animal. The other guy says, no. I saw your animal get injured on a rock.
right.
Bari. So each one's a bari case. So that's the case. So let's see. So Maskara Papa. Now, Midaresha Bari, because we like to keep our Mishnahs even, right? And with the common denominator. So the ratio by the fact that the claims in the earlier case of the Mishnah are each one is a certain claim. Seifa Nami. So we also have to say that the Seifa was also a case of Bari. In the case of the Seifa, as you recall, was I own two animals, and let's say Eddie owns two animals, right? So my animals injure your animals. So you're claiming my large killed the large, and the small killed the small, and I say no. It was my large that killed your small, my small that killed your large. Therefore, I don't, I have to pay less. So Seva Nami Bari Bari. So Ema. So he says, but the case Ema Seifa. So let's go. What's the Seifa? Oh yeah, Echad Gadol Echad Katan. One of the animals was large, one was small. Mizak Omer. So the one who was damaged says Gadol Hezik. Right? In that case was only one, I think. Right? It's one animal. So he said the Gadol Hezik. Well, Mazik Amar Lo. Ki ella cotton hazik. No, my small animal was the one who caused damage. Right? Low key, that's bari. Right? Or echatam v'echamur, if one was a tam, what was a muad? So nizak amar muad hazik v'amazik amar lo ki ella tam hazik. That was no, it was the tam who caused it. So I must have called a raya. In that case, they must have a raya. So if the guy does not go ahead and bring proof, right? Shakal kudar mazik. It would be like the Mazik's claim. And I was, okay, you just pay the lesser amount, right? If you can't bring proof, the guy's at least saying, yeah, it was my small animal that injured, therefore Chatzi Nasik with a small animal. So Neima to Yufta the Rabbi Nasan. Let's say it's a Kash and Rabbi Nasan. Damar, who says, Taino Chitim, V'hoidela B'sar and Potter. The person claims, I gave you wheat. And the other guy says, no, you gave me barley. So therefore, that which he's saying, I gave him wheat, never occurred. Therefore, he's basically contradicting what he's saying. And as the case says, he's putter. He's putter in such a case. So in this case, when the Nizak and Mazik are making contradictory statements, right? So they're saying, this animal A did it, and the other guy said, no, animal B did it. L'chayra, right? He shouldn't be able to collect anything. He's putter. So it can't be that case. Ella b'bari v'shema the kamar. So it must be case of bari v'shem, right? The kamar. So bari man, the kamar, right? Shema man, right? So who's the one who says bari, and who's the one who's saying shema? Now remember, we're talking about the nizak is making claim to the mazik. So each one is claiming bari that it was the tam, the other, or whatever. Which his claim is going to be bari. So the nizak will say it was the gadol or the muad, and the mazik will say, no, it was the katan or the tam. So name of the coming nizak, bari the coming mazik shema. If you want to say that we're talking about a case of where the nizak was the certain and the mazik says, I'm not sure. The nizak says, no, it was your muad that did it. And the other guy says, I'm not sure, it might have been the tam. So kati lemon to you to the Rabbi Nasa. So over here, by the fact that he's denying it, right? He's really, it's really a separate claim, and therefore it really should be putter. And according to Rabbi Bernas, and he's not. So Ella must be a case we're talking about. The Kamri Nizak.
Bless you.
Yeah. You have paper towels here? Or tissue? No. Sorry. Yeah. Hey, it's one of those, like you're sick.
You're sick?
No, just look.
Go on, dog.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right.
We had laying it on,
Pause. Okay. No, we're good. All right, we're back.
we had laying it on the floor.
Okay, good video for this. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. So in the case, we say it would still be a kasha. Nothing. So rather, what was we talking about, right? So rather, what's the case here? So rather, the case is Ella to come our nizak shema. So the nizak says shema. So maybe your muad was the one that did it. The coming mazik bari, and the mazik was bari. And he says, and that's the reason why we follow the mazik. We need to say from the nizak shema mazik bari. So then ratio also should be a case of one of the equal cases. The ratio should also be where the nizak is shema and the mazik is bari. Now, in this case, we need to go ahead and say that, hey, it's not a case of hulking, or even Sunkos wouldn't agree to that case, right? So Gor says, "Lo, thank you." So he says, "Lo, Seifa nizak shema umazik bari and Reisha nizak bari umazik shema." So Gor says, "No, really, yes. One is a case of shema and bari, and so is the other one. But in the case of the Reisha, it's the nizak that's the certain, and therefore and that's the case of there. And the case of the Seifa, the nizak is only the shema. So the Gemara says, "I v'holo dami Reisha Seifa." But that's similar. One is the nizak is bari, and the other one's the mazik is bari. So the Gemara says, "Amri bari the shema bari chad mulsi." No, that's still considered to be consistency in the Mishnah. As long as one is bari, the other one's shema, and the other one's shema, the other one's bari, therefore it's consistent. However, bari and shema bari trey milinihu. But if you say that the Reisha is a case of bari, and the Seifa is a case of bari shema, then that would be inconsistent. So Gufa, 2 dots. So Amar, so we mentioned this earlier. Amar Abernasan Tanu Chitin V'Haida LeBisar, and the guy says, "Hey, you owe me wheat," and the guy says, "No, I only owe you barley." So it's pater. So my kamashal. What's the chiddush here? Tanina, we learned this. Tanu Chitin V'Haida LeBisar in pater. If one who goes ahead and makes a claim of wheat, and there was this Mishnah there was talking about Magid Mixus, you got to sort of make an admission to the claim, and so if I deny part of a claim. Right, so I have to make a shvua. It's only if I have to make a shvua if I admit to some of the claim. But if you claim wheat and I say barley, that's not admission to partial claim. So you're pater for making a shvua there. So the question is, Imi Hasam, if I learned over there that it's basically a denial, you're pater. Havamina pater midmechit. Maybe over there I would have thought maybe I'm pater for paying the wheat, but chayv meisarin. But I would still have to go ahead and pay the price of the barley that I'm admitting to. So kamash v'lan the pater legami comes teach in our case is pater legami. So Tanan, how you understand Shnayim if the owner of the animals got injured, had 2 animals. Echad gadol echad katat v'chule. Halo meiserai. But we brought over there the case says if he doesn't go ahead and bring a proof, shakil kadavar mazik, then you bring that which the mazik claimed. Now is if we don't trust the nizak, we go by the mazik. But we go by the mazik, therefore you pay the less amount. Amai chitis arninu. Why? It's different. You're saying animal A killed, and I maybe animal A killed. And I say no. Animal B killed. So there's a complete denial. It's like wheat and barley. The Gemara says, no, right, lito, vein low. In other words, it only means if you can bring full proof later on, then you can go ahead and collect that way. It says clearly that he pays right? For the small one from the larger animal, and from the large animal from the larger from the smaller one. So when I says the toughest, when you already grabbed the animal, took hold of the animal, then we allow him to go ahead and collect, even if he doesn't go ahead and bring proof. And one more kasha tanan. Let's look at the next case. One was a tam, one was a muad. Hey, hanizak amir muad heizik as a gadol. The nizak said, your larger animal went ahead and damaged my the muad did the large one. Therefore, you have to pay full payment. The tam is a cotton. No, the mazik says, no, I got to pay you less. It was only my tam that killed your gadol. Therefore, I only have to pay chatzin nezek of the larger one. And muad as a cotton. So the Mishnah says you have to go ahead and bring the burden, and the proof is on him. But if you don't bring a proof, you still shuggle to the mazik. Then you still pay what the mazik said. But why should that be? Already knew it's two separate cases. You're saying animal A, and I'm saying animal B. Right? In other words, I'm denying the animal. Right? So therefore, the Gemara says no. Right? Lito Vela means no. He burden of proof is on him, but since he doesn't have, he wouldn't go ahead and collect. The Gemara says, Votanya, Harezem Ishtalem Lakata Mina Muad, Lagadol Mina Tam. But it says over there in Farish that he does indeed go ahead and collect in this case. So the Gemara says the toughest, when he already took hold of it, then we don't make him return it, and therefore, even though he didn't bring a burden of proof. All right, we'll stop here at the two dots.
Okay.
Just because it was Thursday, I didn't go all the way down. So tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, we will